Hello friends and welcome to Tutorials Point. Well, in our day-to-day life, at our workplace or maybe amongst our colleagues or at our home sometimes or amongst our friends as well, there are situations wherein we might have to address maybe a particular group of people, or for that reason if you are probably at a leadership position at your workplace, you might need to sometimes maybe take hold of the entire meeting, or maybe you have to address a few people. Now, during these situations, how is it that you can actually deliver to the best of your ability? Or for that matter, how can you actually be a wonderful speaker, right? So a wonderful speaker not necessarily means that someone who is just maybe spilling around or speaking wonderfully ornamental English. No, it's not about that. But a wonderful speaker is the one who actually has that power to influence all the audience who are listening to him or her, right? So that is the power of a speaker actually, because that time you are in a power position and you actually have that opportunity to influence so many people who are listening to you. Now in this situation, how do you think can you actually get a grip of all those people who are listening to you? Is it just about maybe speaking out and learning English and getting dressed up very well, perfectly in your formal dress and speaking out English, speaking out exotic words? Is it just about that? Not really. There is a lot that goes behind being a wonderful speaker, right? So again, as I think I already told you in my last video as well, that you might get millions of tips and tricks, but in our module we are not going to discuss just tips and tricks, because these tips and tricks are things which actually you can superficially quote, or you can actually use them to gloss on the top. But in this entire module, in this video specifically, we probably will go, we'll take a drill, we'll step a drill down, and we will see what is it actually, where does it all stem from, and what is it that actually makes you a wonderful speaker, and how can you actually form that connect so that the people who are listening to you are not just listening because it's a formality, but it is actually a takeaway for them, right? Whatever you are saying is a takeaway for them. So let's go ahead and see as to what is it that can make us a wonderful speaker. Okay, so the very first point, during the time whenever we are probably addressing some people, is that you need to have clarity of voice, thought, and understanding. Yes, that is very true. So if your voice is kind of fumbling, or your voice is not clear, definitely the people who are listening to you would not be they will not be able to pay attention, or they won't gain interest in whatever you are saying, right? So where does this clarity of voice come from? It comes from a clarity of thought, right? And clarity of thought comes from the clarity of understanding. So all of these things are very interrelated, right? So whatever topic that you are talking about, your thoughts, your understanding, and subsequently your voice has to be very clear about it. If you are clear in your thought process, in your understanding of that particular topic that you are talking about, it is then that people actually will be able to connect to you, and they'll actually get influenced with whatever you are saying. If there is no clarity and you're just superficially speaking, probably with this idea to create a superficial image, or to create an impression that you are learned and you're very, you're very sharp and intelligent and you know a lot of all, well, then everything is going to be superficial, because then that connect, or that your whatever you say, it won't be like, a takeaway. They would just be words that you would be speaking, that's it. But we definitely do not want to limit our communication to just words that we speak, right? We want it to be impactful, right? And for anything to be impactful, whatever you say should absolutely stem from a clear understanding, which would lead to a clear thought, and as a result, whatever you say would absolutely be clear, right? So this is the first step. Let's go ahead and see what are the other things that can actually, which are actually needed to be a great speaker. Okay, now second thing which you actually need to probably influence the people who are there or who are listening to you, or probably to do justice that to the role that you are in. Not just would I limit to maybe speaking, but any work that you are doing for that matter, it needs passion and experience about the topic that we are speaking. So if you are speaking, you probably can relate it to you, and if you are doing some work, so until and unless you have passion for that, right, and of course experience, both these things, passion and experience amalgamated together, can create that impact. So it is very important. Until unless you don't have passion for it, definitely that impact won't be created. So have you ever imagined as to why are there certain actors or actresses who end up impressing us more, and the impression that they create or the impact that they have on us is far above their looks or their glamour and all. So that is because they have this passion, and once that passion is amalgamated, conflates with the experience, wow, the magic just spills around, right? So passion and experience both are very much required to actually influence the audiences, right? So let me tell you one thing, if you do not have passion on any particular thing, it is always a good idea to avoid that topic, because if it doesn't come from the inside, not really, it will not create that impact which it ought to, right? So again, second thing is that passion and experience both are required to create an impact. Okay, now this is again a very important thing. While you are not just you are addressing maybe a conference or maybe a workshop or anything, even if you are just sitting in a group of people and you are saying something, right, or else for that matter, even if you are leading a meeting, or even if you are a leader, so relating your narrative to your listeners so that they can get the WIIFM benefit. Yes. So what is this WIIFM benefit? It is what is in it for me, right? So just relate it very simply. Let us assume that you are talking to someone, right, or you're listening to someone. Why would you actually take your time out to listen to someone? Definitely there is something that you are expecting out of that that entire conversation, or maybe there is something in that entire conversation which relates to you, right, which could help you in one way or the other. So if it is not related to you in one way or the other, directly or indirectly, do you think we would have that that interest in any conversation? Definitely not. So until and unless you are able to relate your narrative to the people who are listening to you, definitely you definitely will not get to grip their attention. So it is very important, no matter what story that you are telling or whatever concept that you are telling, it is very important to pitch in the WIIFM benefit in that, right? So let us assume that you probably are addressing a meeting and there is some new strategy which you wish that your team should start to apply, right? So after you explain that, you definitely can tell them the benefit that this is how this is going to help you, or this could save your time or your effort, right? And it is going to yield you better results, or it's going to be much more accurate. So, and if that happens, definitely your your quarterly ratings are going to boost a lot, right? So once you tell them the benefit which is in it for them, it is then that they will, it'll be a takeaway for them, or they'll actually get influenced by whatever you're speaking. So if they are not able to relate, or if you are not able to showcase the benefit for the people who are listening to you, well, then definitely not. Then you won't be able to create that connect, right? So do not forget to tell them the WIFM benefit of your narrative, right? Okay. Now, again, something, as I already told you, that what is it that grips the attention of the audiences? Mind you, let me tell you one thing. It is not as easy. It is very easy to sit and probably comment on someone who is speaking there right in front of you on the stage. But it is not as easy to get the attention of all the audiences. It is very tough. And if you actually want to make it easy, or if you feel that it is something, whatever you say should actually create some impact, a strength and clarity behind every word which can touch the lives of your listeners, right? So a strength and clarity, and that will only and only root from your own passion and your own experience, right? So like I already told you, there are certain people, whenever they speak, no matter whatever language that they are using, but because of that passion, because of that strength, because of that clarity in thought and voice, they can very easily influence you, right? So again, this strength and clarity is something which is very much needed to impact your audiences. Otherwise, if it is very, very superficial, just with the idea of probably to create an image or just to show off, it won't touch your listeners as much, right? So if you're going there on the stage, please be very, very clear, very passionate, very connected. You actually have to feel it, right? You might learn the tips and tricks as to how you got to lower or increase your voice pattern, or you might enhance your vocabulary and all of that, or maybe you might learn some hand gestures or body movements for that matter. But all this knowledge put together will only and only practically benefit you if you're feeling what you are saying, right? So just go ahead, see as many tips and tricks, but until and unless it's something that you is giving you feeling from the inside, or something that strengthens your own soul from the inside, and you're very clear about it. Without it, it'll be incomplete, right? No matter how many body language gestures, hand movements, body movements, dress up, and everything you learn, but without that, that inner connect and that inner strength, no, that won't be possible. Okay, now, of course, having said that, experiencing, feeling, passion, strength, clarity, having used all of these terminologies, and of course understanding these concepts, another very, very important strength and very, very important requirement of a speaker is to be versatile, right? So no matter wherever you are, basis the situation that you are in, it is very important to adapt to the environment and then say something, right? So if you're in a situation probably, or maybe you're addressing audiences who probably belong to a particular age group, you might want to change the words that you're saying, or maybe you might want to add or delete a few lines which you feel would suit that particular age group, right? So you have to be versatile if you actually look forward to be a very good speaker, or or for that matter, a very, very good leader, right? Because only a good speaker can actually be a good leader. If your words are not able to influence the people who are around, be it your audiences or be it your subordinates, well, then you cannot be a good leader, right? So that connect has to be there. And versatility is again a very, very important virtue of being a good leader or a good speaker. Okay, a non-interfering and clear voice which comes from feeling it from the depth, right? So, like, let's take an example of maybe a loudspeaker, right? Or maybe a mic which someone would use to speak. So if there is no interference, only then the voice is clear, right? If the track is completely clear, or if the the flow of electricity within it, which actually is helping it to maybe amplify the sound, if that is uninterrupted, if that is clear, it is only then that the voice which it radiates outside would be clear, right? So in that similar manner, until and unless your mind, your thought process is very clear about the topic that you're talking about, and whatever you are saying is doubtless, absolutely doubtless, absolutely fearless, it is then that you'll have a clear voice, and only then can you actually grip your audiences, right? So as I already told you, it's not that you superficially learn and do something. All of this, being actually a good speaker or a good leader, not just comes superficially, it comes from the inside, right? So you have to feel it, otherwise no. So last but not the least, a very, very important aspect of being a good leader or a good speaker is to actually tell the truth. Yes, that's right. The moment you try to fake it, especially when you are on a stage, maybe addressing millions of audiences, well, the moment you try to fake it, it doesn't help, right? It definitely is going to break the connect, right? So let us imagine that you are in a situation wherein maybe you have to address a group of people on a particular topic and you're not as well prepared for it. So it would definitely be a good idea if you just go ahead and say that, well, this topic that I'm going to probably address you today on, even I'm not well informed about it, so let's learn it together, right? So the moment you say this, that very moment that connect is created. Or for that matter, there are times when maybe we have to go on the stage and we are very, very nervous, right? So it is a good, the moment you go on the stage, you're feeling nervous, and if you try to cover it up, it is going to show in your body language. And what happens is, whenever you are on the stage, your audiences definitely they actually mimic you. So if you are nervous, they would be nervous, and this happens at a very subconscious level. If you're confident, they'll be confident. If you're true, they'll be also true, right? So if you are probably feeling nervous, there is no harm in saying that, this is for the first time that I am standing here, or maybe even if it is not for the first time, we can say that I'm feeling nervous at this point in time, just because we are going to start it, but I request you all to cheer me up so that, I am able to take this forward very, very confidently. And that very moment, that connect is created, and just give it a try, you will see the difference. So there is no harm in telling the truth, rather faking it, especially if you are maybe leading a group of people, or if you're addressing a group of people, definitely doesn't help to create that bond, right? There is no harm in accepting that, yes, I am nervous, or yes, I do not know as much about this topic, and there is no harm about it. So all of this comes only when you have clarity in your mind, right? So one basic principle of being a good speaker is, do not try to fake it. Tell the truth. That is going to help you to create that connect, right? So ending with a quote, being like a clear mirror makes you shine inside out. Yes, that's very true. So clarity within ourselves will help to reflect a clarity on the outside. If you're true to yourself, you'll be able to create that bond of trust. Your audiences would be true for you, right? So friends, this was all about being a wonderful speaker. We are gonna see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with tutorials point and tutorics. Have a good day.